Okay, let's go. So, your imagination is a tool, Tool, not a toy, Toy. Your imagination is a tool, not a toy. If you are over 50, you need to listen to this video. So, I was in conversation with myself after I just finished reading Stephen Bartlett's book. It's called Diary of a CEO, 33 Laws for Business and Life. And in the book, he shares a diagram and details different ages. So let me check. He details different ages: 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. 60, 65, 70 to 75. In one column, he details how many days you have spent. And then if your average life expectancy is, say, 77 years old, he then details how many days you have left. And it really got me thinking, because I was with my mastermind group presenting a masterclass on strategic planning and how we plan for the next decade of our lives. And that takes into consideration our life, our leadership, our legacy, our livelihood, and everything that encompasses who we are and how we put those plans in place. And it really got me thinking about the way how we use our imagination. And so today I want to ask you the question: how are you using your imagination? Given that your imagination is a tool, not a toy, how are you getting the best out of your imagination? How are you ensuring that you use your imagination as a tool to empower and not a toy to entertain? And what I mean by that is sometimes your imagination becomes your imagination can become transformational, especially when it moves you from wishful escapism into intentional creativity, moving from wishful escapism into intentional creativity. And I started to think about how then can I use my imagination as a tool and not a toy. And so, as I was thinking about the next season or the next decade, your decade of distinction, whatever it is that you are planning for, whatever it is that you are praying for, whatever it is that you are preparing for, because here's the other thing. Sometimes we take our imagination and we play with ideas. But what I've learned over the last 3 decades of running a multi-award winning organization is that after we've played with some ideas, the next step is to plan your ideas. So you get really strategic about those ideas and you put a plan in place. Once you've put a plan in place, you can then partner with God and pray over those plans and pray that you will have good success, pray that you are on the right track, and then you move into your production space. Your production space is where you produce what you have imagined. And that's why I believe your imagination is a tool, not a toy. You can use your imagination to design your future with vision, not fantasy. And what we mean by this is using your imagination to visualize your next chapter, your next decade, your next year, your next month, your next week, your next day, your business, your book, your career, your relationships, your lifestyle. Picture the very real version that you are working towards. Use your imagination as a catalyst, not to daydream endlessly about one day this will happen and one day this will happen, and you're not anchoring that in any action. I want you to design your future with vision, not fantasy. Then I started thinking about how you can use your imagination to problem solve with creativity. Your imagination is a tool because you can use this tool to thought shower solutions, make bold decisions, or reimagine how you would approach challenges. When I think about how we've had different challenges, staffing challenges, financial challenges, technological challenges, automation challenges. Even when I think about when I was writing my book and how I could use my imagination to create real life solutions to the problems that we were facing. And one of the things that really helped was just taking that time away, moving away from the noise, moving away from technology, moving away from all of the hubble and bubble of life, and just moving away from everything, going into that quiet place of solitude so that I could think about what do I need to do next. And it's in those moments of solitude, it's in those moments when I can tap deeply into my creativity that I'm able to find those solutions. I'm able to add value to whatever problem is in front of me. After I've been able to do that, I can take it to the team, or I can take it to somebody else for a second or third opinion. I can then bring something of value to the table. But what I found really helps is using my imagination to problem solve in a creative way. The third thing I want you to think about, your imagination is fuel for your faith and bold actions. Let your imagination stretch your faith. Picture yourself partnering with God and doing exceedingly abundantly more than you can think or ask or even imagine. Allow your imagination to act as the fuel, to act as the driver that propels your faith into bold action. It's one thing to say, I've prayed, and then fold your arms and wait. It's another thing to say, I have prayed, unfold your arms and get into action. The scripture reminds us that faith without works is dead. So now that you've got the fuel, now that you've got the faith, and now that you've got the idea and the plan and you've partnered with God, it's time to roll up your sleeves and get into ACTION, action. The fourth thing I want you to think about is turning your vision into strategy. And this is the thing that I was talking to my mastermind group about when I was running the masterclass about strategic planning. Break down your big ideas, break down your big imagined ideas into practical steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. See or begin with the end in mind and then reverse engineer the process. Ask yourself the question, how old will I be in 10 years' time? That's 2035. How old will you be? What is the big plan? What is the big agenda? What will your life look like? How many books will you have written? What will your business portfolio look like? What will your pension portfolio look like? What will your property portfolio look like? How many children will you have? How old will they be? How old will your grandchildren be? And then reverse engineer the process. Ask yourself, if that's where I want to be, what do I need to do to get there? Take a step-by-step approach. It could be that you might need to review your team, see what skill you have on board and what additional skill you have to help you get there. See what your position of your finances. Where am I now? What do I need to do in order to get there? It's really important to move away from the someday mentality, the someday thinking, and never committing to your first move. Imagination is your divine equipment. Excuse me. Imagination is your divine equipment. It was given to you not to escape, but to envision, to create, and to build. And what I want you to do right now is think about, what does your strategic plan need to look like? Don't just use your imagination as a toy. Use it as a tool, not to play with, but to build your ideas, to plan your ideas, to pray over your ideas, and then produce what you have just imagined. That's how you can step out of your comfort zone. That's how you can move from where you are right now to where you want to be. I look forward to hearing about your strategic plans and how you are using your imagination as a tool, not a toy.